So that was anticlimactic, but I did pick Miami to win, so at least I was right. I did not see a blowout on the horizon, but here we are. Tough playoff here for the Boston fans, eh? Nah, but congrats to the Heat and a great effort for the Boston Celtics, but they just came up short. That is the reason there has not been a comeback from a 3-0 deficit ever in the NBA history. But let us digest. Let's start with what happened at the start of the game. That Jason Tatum unfortunately tweaked his ankle really poorly on pretty much the first play of the game, and it clearly impacted him all night long, man. And it of course had a ripple effect. Jaylen Brown naturally felt like he needed to do a little more, and boy was it trouble. We'll get to Jaylen a little bit later, as I want to point out that Miami went to the zone pretty much instantly in this game, and the Celtics just looked absolutely lost against it with Tatum hampered. They just did not know what to do with the zone, man. It was too much isolation, too much one-on-one, and just 1-2 passes, which is just not gonna beat a good zone. It's all about tough shot making then, and they weren't knocking them down, and they were reliant on 3-point shooting, and it was their downfall in the end. And they have shown the ability to move the ball really well, and they have been moving the ball much better these last 3 games, but they just went away from it in this game 7 for some reason. But let's talk about the winner, Miami. It was once again the role players, man. Caleb goddamn Martin was spectacular. Gabe Vincent was great. Kyle Lowry actually had great minutes. You had Haywood Highsmith giving you some really good minutes defensively. And the guys made extra passes. They played off Bam, letting him create by those pick and rolls, handoffs, and those handoff actions, which was great. And everything was going great for Miami, and it was looking like a blowout throughout the whole first half. Then the Celtics did finally do a little bit of something, and they were not as down as they should have been, considering the way they played and shot the ball. And then in the third quarter, it was Caleb Martin versus Derek White, man. A battle we'll tell the next generations about, man. There was some special hoops, man. Game 7s at its finest. Derek White had such a great game, and of course, coming off that game winner, he was the only one that looked kinda right out there, and he was the reason the Celtics were even in this game, and it was under 10 points for some time in this game even. But every time the Celtics got it under 10, it was Caleb Martin coming up with a response. Then, funny enough, the problem for Miami was that Jimmy Butler didn't have it going, and Bam was looking like me out there on offense. He could not make layups over Marcus Smart, man. But I don't know if it is a mental thing or just a rough touch. Could be a little bit of both, I would say, because he is such a phenomenal defender. He is the engine of the defense, and he was spectacular tonight defensively, so thank God for that. But on offense, he had a rough game, let's just say. When the game was kind of still hanging in there, and it was a 7-point game, Jimmy finally woke up, and he made a 3-pointer to give them the lead up to 10, and then he finally got going, created some good looks for Caleb Martin, who continued to just play like one of the best players ever. I don't know what to tell you. But you could also see that the Celtics were tired, not in there 100% mentally, because at the start of the fourth quarter, where it was still a 10-point game or 10 to 12-point game, they let Caleb Martin get loose and had a wide open top of the key 3-pointer based on miscommunication by the Celtics defense, and that just can't happen, where he was literally the best player on the floor at that point. And it just got ugly in that fourth quarter. Tatum just could not get going, and of course he was out there, so he's gonna catch some slack, but he was not right, man. Jimmy was hunting that matchup with Jason Tatum on him, and throughout the series, Tatum was so great defensively on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was doing everything always to not have Jason Tatum on him, and he was hunting Jason Tatum in that fourth quarter. That just tells you how bad the ankle probably was. So, shout out to Tatum for trying to hang in there. It's just rough that it had to happen like this, unfortunately. And then we have to get to the other part of the duo. Jaylen Brown. The man cannot dribble to his left, and they forced him to his left. And he had more turnovers than the whole Heat team halfway through the fourth quarter. It was one of the worst performances of his career, probably. And considering that he is awaiting that extension this offseason, it is rough. But what do you do if you are the Celtics, right? Do you pay him? Do you not pay him? We'll talk about it probably in some other video, but they have a tough offseason ahead of themselves. But he was overforcing because of Tatum's injury, in my opinion, and that is where they were not playing as a team and just got disjointed, while the Heat were playing playing that zone, playing as a team, everybody picking each other up. An actual NBA team just could not do anything with a 2-3 zone. So there's that. To be fair to the Celtics, the Heat execute the zone as good as anyone, but it is still rough that you cannot pretty much do anything against the zone as an NBA team for the whole game. They scored 82 points, man. Their lowest scoring game of the year. Gave up with 2 minutes to go. I understand that was a little bit of bad optics, but hey, it didn't matter in the end, of course. And Jimmy Butler got the Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Well deserved to him. Caleb Martin got his shouts, and I would have loved him to have it. We could have had another Iggy to Steph situation, but this time it might have been more deserving. But Jimmy had the obviously higher highs, and he's the engine of the team. But shout out Caleb Martin. If he had won it, there would have been no arguments from anyone, I would say. Spoelstra and Jimmy deliver on their promises, and now they can go and board that plane to Denver. And Tyler Hero could return for Game 3. So we will do a preview tomorrow, and the finals start in 2 days, I'm pretty sure. So let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know your thoughts on the Celtics. Let me know in the comment section. Like and subscribe. Love and peace.